Hey everyone, it's Alex coming at you. Just thought I'd come on here and share five jazz records that I've been really enjoying over the last couple of months. Fairly recent acquisitions, but yeah, some of these I've been after for quite some time. So really happy to share them with you. We'll start with one that I've been looking for a very long time. This is Bayard Lancaster's personal testimony. I believe self-released on this concert artist label. I think that's his own label. This is from 1980. Of course, Bayard Lancaster, the reed player from the East Coast. And what we have here is a really interesting example of him, really sort of going beyond the jazz idiom, and this is really just a solo effort, heavily using overdubs. He's playing the piano here, he's playing the flute, he's playing the bass clarinet, he's playing saxophones, and it's recorded in Philadelphia, his hometown, 1979. And yeah, just really evokes things like Ariel Calma, the French experimental saxophone player. There's a record by the British artist Lal Coxhill. I think it's called Slow Music, I think, also incidentally with a green cover that is also along these lines. And certainly Anthony Braxton's more experimental stuff, but again, the overdubs here, and I think he also has some vocals as well. Really, make it a very, very unique record. Hopefully, one that will get reissued at some point. This was it is very hard to find. Lucky to find this out east from Dave Belson. He's got a former VC member from back about 8-9 years ago. He has a record store in the Boston area. Wantless Records. I'll leave a link to his shop. And generally, if things sit at the store for a few days and you're interested in buying them, he will ship it out to you. So thanks, Dave. Really appreciate having this personal testimony. And Dave also threw in this really interesting picture of Raymond Scott, the American electronic artist, famous for all those sort of baby, like children's music, electronic records. So yeah, really, really cool picture. Thanks, Dave. Next, we have a record from the clarinet player, also from out east. I think it's from Jersey. Originally Tony Scott. This is music for voodoo meditation. Of course, Tony Scott, most famous for his music. What's it called? Music for Zen meditation. A couple of records I did on Verb. Those are from I think '68, I think, and this is from a little later, it's like '72. This one only came out in Europe and Canada. I think this is the German, the original pressing on the German Verb label. There's Tony Scott himself. I was also looking for this since his there's a record influenced by gamelan music. I think it's Danja Bali. I think it's called something like that. It was just reissued, or will be reissued here in the next few weeks. So it's kind of, taking a closer look at his discography. I do have a couple of his other records, including the fantastic one that he did on Soul Note, African Songbird, I think it's called. But yeah, love this one. I was playing this during the storm that we had come through here. Thankfully, no major damage around here from the storm, the Hurricane Hillary as it was called. But yeah, sometimes I really like playing music when I'm in a different room. So I was playing this and then kind of sitting out in the porch, just with the door open, while it was raining out, and yeah, really hit the spot. As the cover art would indicate, yeah, this is very much. There's not a whole lot of credits here as far as who the players are and what's going on here, but definitely a record very much influenced by his interest in ethnographic music from different parts of the world. Certainly, this one is influenced by African music and heavily percussive record. But just I can't recommend this enough. It's just a very beautiful record. And check out Tony Scott. I mean, he's been around. He was born in 1921, so by the time he put this stuff out, he's already into his 50s. So there's a lot of stuff to explore there, and yeah, for myself too, I will definitely look for more Tony Scott. Really cool stuff. Another one that I've been looking for quite a while. I think I got this on eBay, possibly. I can't recall. An artist I don't know a great deal about, Petty Waters. So this is on the famed, ESP disc label out of New York. She has, I think, 2 or 3 records on that label. This one, I think, is just the self-titled one. An improvisational vocalist, I suppose, a precursor of, some of the, experimental vocal, sort of jazz adjacent, vocalists that would come later, like Meredith Monk, certainly. Jeannie Lee, certainly, as well, who would come a little bit later in the late 60s. So she toured a bunch, I think, with some of the other jazz players that were recording for ESP. So I think here, Giuseppe Logan, the sort of mysterious reed player, is featured on here playing the flute. We got Dave Burrell. We have Burton Green, and we have Rand Blake, the pianist, who I think put out a couple of things on ESP disc. So yeah, this is during some state college tours that they did in New York in April of 1966. So like I said, if you're interested in any of those other artists that I mentioned, definitely check this out. It's really great cover art too. Petty Waters, 1966, really good stuff. Alright, this is definitely a grail, and I'm not shy to use that term. It's a record that I had a chance to buy this early during pandemic. There was a shop owner who was selling this from his personal collection. I just hesitated too long, and then by the time that I contacted him a few months later, it was gone. So Don Cherry with Orient here. This is on the BYG label, but strangely this is one of the ones that was a Japanese only release. And it's basically a couple of sessions from France, one of them in Paris from 1971, featuring a couple of different groups. One group is with the great Ham Benick and Moki Cherry on playing the tambura, and then we got the other group is Cherry with Johnny Diani, the great South African bass player, with OK Tamiz, great Turkish percussionist. All these, artists among my favorites at what they do. Maybe not the most sort of essential Don Cherry from this, fantastic, exploratory, his whole career, I guess, could be argued is very exploratory, but certainly this, late 60s, starting with, his Mew 1 and 2 records on BYG, and into the early 70s, and of course the organic music stuff. This fits somewhere in between, certainly exploring a lot of the same themes, certainly exploring the idea of, you know, communal music, of collaboration, and yeah, very much a hippie atmosphere that is drenched here, including yeah, I mean, you have Orient, Eagle Eye, of course, dedicated to his son, Eagle Eye Cherry, Togetherness. Pretty sure that was like a 60s composition, and then Sitarama. I don't know if that composition is anywhere else, but yeah, kind of an iconic cover art. Chris Cole actually gifted me a later British pressing of this, which only sort of encouraged me to seek out an original copy, which I was able to find a few months ago, and yeah, really happy to finally have this on Cherry. And finally, this record from Selwyn Lissac on the French Goody label. Can't remember too much about the label. I know the liner notes here are from Claude Delclue, who was involved with the BYG label, so I don't know if the Goody label had anything to do with BYG at all. I do have another, they did reissue a bunch of things that were American releases on the Goody label. This one I think is only on this label. So a bunch of South African artists here, including the title artist here, Lissac, who I guess was more of a visual artist and a sculptor. In fact, those are his sculptures here on the cover. Very cool. I haven't done too much research into, you know, what else he was into visually, but here he is playing the drums, and I guess he kind of was asked by Delclue to put this group together, and so we have Magazi Feza, trumpet player, South African. We have Mike Osborne, I believe also South African. We have Ken Terode, who I believe is the only, he's Jamaican actually, which I didn't know until I was kind of reading up on this. We have Harry Miller, who is British, and Earl Freeman, who is either British or South African. No, sorry, Earl Freeman is American. He's the only American on the group here. So yeah, if you like any of this is from what, 1969, so it's very much from that period of you know, communal, you know, free improv, you know, and sort of, you know, European collaborations here with some American players and European players, South African players. You know, a lot of those collaborations, of course, on the BYG label. This one is particularly strong, I would say, and I would say a lot more sort of interesting and cohesive than a lot of the BYG sessions, which don't always cohere for me. But yeah, really strong communication and interplay here. Yeah, I mean, free for sure, but yeah, very, very strong session, I would say, and still pretty affordable. Can be had for, you know, $30 or so. Yeah, and I know a lot of the Diani stuff, you know, getting a little bit tougher to find as you know, as he gets more publicity, I think, and more recognition. Anyway, there's 5 really cool jazz records I've been enjoying. Get out of here. Hope everybody's well, and talk to you soon.